How to do the pile driver, one of the toughest sexual positions ever. If you think that having sex is a sport, you might want to try this acrobatic move. If you think of Olympic sports, you might want to try the pile driver position based on a heavy-duty tool. A pile driver is a big tool that drills deep into the ground. Can probably guess that the pile driver position helps the giver drill deep into their partner. Operating heavy machinery safely requires training and practice, even if the machinery is just your body. Here's everything you need to know about the pile driver if you and your partner are ready to try it. How does a pile driver make love? If you've seen the pile driver in porn, you've probably thought, how the heck do people bend like that? This is exactly how the pile driver is meant to make you feel. Even though this position might be enjoyable for yogis, gym rats, and people who like deep penetration, it's more about how it looks than how it feels. In its classic form, the person getting the massage lies on the floor with their legs up and over their head, lifting their lower back off the ground. The giver then turns to face the receiver, squats over them while leaning forward, and pushes their penis or a strap-on dildo into the receiver's vagina or anus. Sometimes the giver holds the other person's legs in place, and sometimes the other person uses their hands to support their own back. Be ready to see each other from different points of view. Not everyone can or should try to get intense. The receiver stays before trying this move in the bedroom. Make sure the receiver can stay in this position for a while. If you're the giver, you might not want to skip leg day before your first try. Marla Renee Stewart, a sexologist, says, you both want to make sure that your bodies can do the position without it getting in the way of your sexual experience. What is it about the pile driver position that people like? If the receiver is willing to get folded in half on the floor, there must be something good about the pile driver, right? Well, if they like to push deep, the pile driver's design works in their favor. Aaliyah Moore, PhD, a sex therapist, says, it's a unique position that can make penetration deeper and more planned. When it comes to vaginal or anal penetration, deeper doesn't always mean better. The G-spot and the prostate are two of the most well-known places inside the body where you can feel pleasure. But deep vaginal penetration lets the giver stimulate the A-spot, an erogenous area between the bladder and cervix at the back of the vagina, as well as the cervix itself, which some vulva owners enjoy. The pile driver is appealing for more than just the physical pleasure it gives. Moore says, some people like how hard and athletic the position is. Others love the power dynamic. The receiver is completely exposed, and the giver has to hold one or both of their legs down to keep them in place. What do people not like about the pile driver sex position? If you and your partner end up in this situation, you might find that it's not as fun as it looks. Stewart explains, the things that people like about the job are pretty much the same things that people don't like about the job. If you and your partner don't want a physical challenge, or if the receiver doesn't want a deep pounding, the pile driver probably won't be fun for either of you. It also has some very serious risks. If the person you want to give the pile driver to has back pain, neck pain, or a history of spinal injuries. And if the person you want to give it to has weak quads, unstable knees, or lower back pain, you should probably take it off your wish list. Moore says, if the giver loses their balance and puts all their weight on the receiver, it could hurt the receiver's back or neck. The caretaker may spend a lot of time with their knees bent, which can hurt their muscles or joints. And if there is vaginal penetration, the person on the receiving end could get a bruise on their neck. If you can't make the classic pile driver, try one of these other drinks. The pile driver with help. In this version of the pile driver, the person being hit lies on the floor next to a bed and puts their lower back on the bed. The person giving the thrust sits on the edge of the bed, so they have something to lean on while doing it. This keeps the person being carried from putting too much strain on their back and gives the person carrying them a place to sit if they start to get tired or fall. The loud applause. The receiver lies on the edge of a bed to get into the standing ovation position. The giver stands at the end of the bed, facing the receiver. The receiver's legs are held up at a 90-degree angle by the giver. Moore says, This lets the giver hit the same penetration angles as the pile driver, but it's easier to do. Also, if the receiver lies on a bed instead of the floor, they are less likely to hurt their head or neck. The starting point. The launch pad is like the standing ovation, but both dancers can be on the same surface, ideally, a mattress to protect their heads and knees. The person getting the massage lies on their back while the person giving the massage kneels in front of them and lifts their hips off the ground. The person being penetrated bends their knees and puts their feet on their partner's chest, or over their shoulders, if that's more comfortable. Moore says, both of these positions are easier to do, but they help you get more flexible, which can help you do the pile driver or at least get similar stimulation. The cart with wheels. Stewart says, someone who likes deep penetration and a challenge can try the wheelbarrow position. The wheelbarrow depends on both the giver and the receiver's upper body strength, which makes it dangerous, but it doesn't need as much flexibility as the pile driver. To get into this position, the receiver puts their hands on the ground and turns away from the giver. The giver stands behind them, lifts their hips, and then penetrates them. The giver can also do this while on their knees. A final word about the pile driver sex position. The pile driver and its variations aren't for everyone. Whether you and your partner are sexual acrobats or not, remember that sex is supposed to be fun, and pleasurable, and comfortable, for everyone. It doesn't have to look like a racy CrossFit workout. Focus on what feels good, and if the pile driver doesn't work, you'll find a different position that does.